Undocumented migrants have entered Britain illegally on small boats this year already, and Brits have had enough. They've had enough of not knowing who's been set loose in their community. They've had enough of feeling unsafe. They've had enough of being ignored. But where anyone dares to speak out, like the worried mothers, fathers and grandparents in Knowsley, they're unfairly branded far right and racist, despite their concerns about uncontrollable immigration being totally legitimate. What do you think? Does protesting against illegal migrants make you racist and far right? Dan at GBNews.uk. Vote in our poll at GBNews. It's taking off right now. But to help you make up your mind, I'm joined by the former Brexit Party MEP Rupert Lowe, human rights lawyer Shoaib Khan, and James Daly, the Conservative MP for Bury North. And James, let me start with you, because I imagine you're hearing from your constituents a lot about this issue. And I don't think if they're expressing a concern, it means they're on the far right. Do you?
Well, good evening, Dan, and thank you very much for having me on. I'm delighted to be on, but I can't actually believe this is a serious question. Before I became MP for Bury North in 2019, I was a councillor in Bury for 10 years. I campaigned and knocked on thousands of doors throughout the country, but mainly in the north of England. By a million miles, Dan, the most important concern and the major issue that was raised with me throughout the country was issues and concerns regarding immigration. The great fault of the left has always been, and those who look back on Brexit may want to take some notice of this, in that those concerns that the people in Knowsley have been there for a long, long time. And the tactic of the left just to brand everybody racist because they have legitimate concerns about their community and the sustainability of their community is absolute madness. And it's time, the politicians like me stood up and called this stuff out. It's the left-wing thought police wanting to impose their morality upon other people who are living lawful, peaceful lives, and they're being let down by politicians. So it quite clearly is nothing to do, it is like any other issue, that people have got the right to legitimately protest and question their politicians about some of the very, very bad decisions that are happening at the moment regarding immigration.
Well, I couldn't agree more, and I think it's shocking that we are having to have this conversation. But Rupert Lowe, you tweeted about this earlier in the week, because actually that is how the protesters are being branded by much of the Liberal establishment.
Well, as we know, Dan, the most of the Liberal establishment are completely woke. I mean, to call somebody racist for just standing up for their own country and what they believe in is poppycock. And at the end of the day, look, I'm all in favour of legal targeted immigration. The Australians do it extremely well. They have a points system. They don't tolerate any illegal immigration. If you try and come in illegally, they ban you from coming to Australia ever again. These guys, as you say, are young men. They're from Albania. They're from parts of the world which they're not really what I'd call economic migrants. They're just coming here because we tolerate them. As we know, QE has allowed the state to grow like a weed, and most of the state is failing, including the Home Office. So if there was a will to stop them coming in, we could easily do it. And certainly looking at my previous constituency in the West Midlands, we were filling up private hotels with illegal immigrants, again, by stealth. A bit like we tax people now by stealth. Everything is done by the establishment through stealth.
Oh,
and I think decent people have every right to stand up if the state is failing and call them out.
Yeah.
So I have absolutely no problem. And
well, let's get the other side of the argument on this, because Shoaib Khan, I believe that you say that many of the protesters in Knowsley were far right.
I don't know if necessarily many, but obviously there was definitely a far-right presence there, and has become clear over the past few days. It seems to have been instigated by, encouraged by, possibly organised by far-right groups. And so there was a particular group, I won't name it, but which seems to be the fastest growing, is being said far-right group, which was actually leafleting local homes in the locality just in the previous week before that. And then obviously what we saw, I mean, I know we're talking about, I'm a human rights lawyer, I'm all for the right to protest, but peaceful protest that does not antagonize others, protest that is not hostile, protest that is not destructive, Obviously, hammering.
Indeed, and we
attacking the
all
police
want
van,
that.
setting it on fire.
But Shoaib, can I just ask something and you can respond? Do you also concede that there were nefarious far-left elements at the protest? I mean, the Communist Party actually issued on Twitter a call-out for anti-fascists to come. And there's strong speculation that many of the hooded violent folk there were actually members of Antifa. So, but no one's talking about that.
I can't say I've seen any credible report that that was the case. I mean, obviously, we've heard...
There's the tweet. There's the tweet.
There. We've heard from the police there.
OK, but there's the tweet.
Obviously, what we are saying is that whoever it was, who was actually, who set the police van on fire, who was attacking, who was throwing fireworks at police officers, obviously that is wrong. And I know, I mean, obviously they spoke about, and we've heard about, people raising their concerns and the government failing. I mean, I doubt there's anyone more critical than me of the government and its failings. Of course, the government,
OK,
it's been
James Daly,
who said the Home Office was not unfit for purpose. So, of course, that's all there. But the point is, how do you put your point across?
OK, I hear you. James Daly, look, the issue that I have is that actually we don't know who was behind that violence. I'm sure all of us condemn violence in the strongest possible of terms, but I've just shown evidence, James Daly, that actually the hard left were also organising.
Dan, it's not... Again, Dan, I'm enjoying being part of the panel, but it's an utterly ridiculous conversation that if people commit offences, they're criminals, and the police arrest them. It doesn't matter whether they're left, right, whoever they are. It's as simple and as straightforward as that. And we have the laws in place to do that. So, this idea that the left can impose titles upon people for protesting that they don't like, perhaps they could be, vociferous about this when people are sat in the middle of the M6, stopping people getting cancer treatment and various other things. When people are causing damage to national monuments, when they're throwing, causing criminal damage and throwing monuments into rivers.
Oh, yeah, they don't care about that. They stand by and watch.
Dan, it's all about imposing their morality on a set of circumstances. So it's not about the underlying issues of why local people in Knowsley are bothered. What they want to do is broaden the political issue to suit their own needs. I've just been reading in The Guardian that one of the groups who've been condemning this are Care for Calais. Now, Dan, if we had about 2 hours, I could tell you something about Care for Calais, because I've been with them 3 weeks ago. I was on the beaches of Calais with Care for Calais, an organisation that the French authorities say essentially they view as enemies, that they say are hindering any actions by the French government to meaningfully address the flow of migrants coming across to this country. So we've also got a lot of organisations who hide behind hocus pocus, who are enabling what I consider to be illegal immigration, but they're masquerade as the kings and queens of liberalness, to call the rest of us, all these names. It's utterly ludicrous. If people commit criminal offences, arrest them. End of story.
Indeed. Shoaib, do you want to respond to that?
I think, obviously, Dan's, the Tories, they've been in power for more than a decade. We have absolutely no solutions. The problem is getting worse. I doubt any of us wants to see the hotels full. From the asylum seekers' point of view, from the Home Office, the public's point of view, the point is what's being done. Things are just getting worse.
Well, I think that's something we can all agree on. Not enough, right, Rupert? Not enough is being done.
Not enough's being done, Dan, and in the end, as usual, it's the honest, decent, middle class and sort of enterprising taxpayer who's picking up the tab and having just sent a very large sum of money to the tax man today.
And by the way, 7 times more of these illegal migrants are being sent to red wall seats compared to the southeast, and we should never forget that either. But look, a fascinating debate. Thank you all for having it. I agree we shouldn't have to have it, but that's where we're at the moment. Former Brexit Party MEP Rupert Lowe, the human rights lawyer Shoaib Khan, and James Daly, the Conservative MP for Bury North. But who do you agree with on this? Does protesting against illegal migrants make you racist and far right? Spicer on Twitter says, no, it's not racist. Protesting means you have a genuine concern about the future society of our children and what they will grow up in. From Anthea, yes, it is far right and racist. These people are just human beings. And from Cameron, most people who throw around terms like far right wouldn't even be able to define those things other than whatever I don't agree with. And your verdict is now in. Just 11% of you say that protesting against legal migrants is racist and far right. 89% of you say it is not.